Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. I've put out more than a few review videos so far, and so far it's all been PC games, so I thought it was time to finally do something on consoles. Initially I was thinking of doing some sort of top 5, but honestly, there are tons of top 5s and top 10s and 20s and all kinds out there. After watching so many list videos, a lot of them start to blur together and you just start seeing the same games over and over again, so I decided I was going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to look at, and in this particular episode I'll be going over the delightful Atari 2600, my first ever console from when I was a kid. I'm pretty excited about this because the Atari 2600 had a lot of good titles, and it also had a lot of bad ones. Regardless, I'm going to spin the wheel, shake the bag, and let the chips fall where they may fall. So, let's roll the dice together and see what Lady Luck brings our way. So, Lady Luck has a sick sense of humor. Oscar's Trash Race is an example of how video game producers attempted to sell to younger children, and to do this, they had to market to the interests of the parents, thus giving rise to the mistake that is edutainment. Now, this game happened to utilize the Atari Kids Controller, a device that I didn't have back in the day, and let's delete that from our minds, thank you. Basically, Oscar's Trash Race is a game where some jerk in a pickup continuously dumps his garbage in an alleyway where you happen to live, and depending on how many pieces of trash there are, you have to select the right trash can of that number to go pick it up. In the more difficult levels, you end up racing against a worm that slowly crawls across the bottom of the screen while you try to get as many points as possible before it gets to the other side. And neat, weather effects. So, what do we learn from this game? Well, running around with your legs sticking out of a rusty trash can is a great way to get tetanus, and that the best way to steal things off the back of a truck is with a big metal can on your head while you dash through puddles in a frickin' lightning storm. Good job, parents! Your kids are gonna turn out great. Alright, let's hope that our next game is crap. Oh look, Math Grand Prix, another numbers and racing edutainment game. How did we get so lucky? Except that this one plays a bit more like a board game. Each turn against the computer or another player, you have to solve the math problem and you move ahead if you answer correctly. You can choose to move 2 or 3 spaces to more effectively land on these different symbols on the track, which let you jump ahead by a random amount, get extra turns, etc., etc. I think this is definitely a better title for kids who want to compete with basic math skills, but this is obviously not a good game by any means. Let's move on, shall we? Next we have Laser Gates. More than just an incredibly generic sounding name, Laser Gates is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up with lasers and gates. It also has a very unusual design in terms of screen real estate. You literally have less than half the screen to play on. With what little time I played it, it seems somewhat interesting. You basically go through random waves of gates and enemies and gates and enemies and yada yada yada. It seems pretty challenging, but a lot of that could be the fact that you have such a narrow space to navigate. Maybe that was intentional, who knows. One thing that I found unusual is the fact that moving back points you to the opposite side of the screen. It seems a little pointless to me because the enemies always appear in the direction you're flying, thus no real reason to be shooting backwards. Laser Gates is okay, not great. Moving on, we have Raft Rider from US Games. Oh yeah, this is one of those games that takes a fun concept and combines it with slow movement and horrible controls. You're a guy on a raft heading down the river, trying to dodge all the things. And there are definitely a lot of things. But let me tell you, rafting ain't easy. You got rocks, and a moose, and a cat that taunts you by running alongside the river like, "Hey buddy, nice raft," and then darts off effortlessly ahead of you. I'm sure that this is one of those games that parents got for their kids, only to be played once and then stored in an attic for the rest of eternity. Finally, we have Gangster Alley. Oh yeah, this is kind of like Hogan's Alley, with bad guys and guns and clearly acceptable images for back in those days. I can only imagine that Gangster Alley was the inspiration for the movie Wanted. Curve the bullet! Well, it just kind of curves automatically. So the only challenge is aiming. You've got 4 gangsters hiding in the windows that you have to hit before they shoot you, and one on top that is only dangerous when he lifts the grenade up. It can get a little more challenging when it becomes nighttime because the windows will occasionally black out, and you can't see anything until you fire your gun again. You do have limited ammo, so running out too fast will force you to wait and reload. This is another okayish, but not great game in my opinion. Well, now that we've made it through, I'll be planning more of these random plays for various systems in the future. And if you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, the thumbs up will let me know that you've been entertained. That's it for this session. I hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.